and hopefully we're live. Good evening, Mike here, Mike's Unboxing Reviews and How To. It is Saturday the 11th of July 2026, a somewhat historic day for England's football team. No doubt we'll find out in the later hours of this evening, but hopefully you can all hear and see me. Even though it's a little bit darker at the moment, I've got the blind down, try and block out some sun and keep the lights off at the moment because it's just way too hot. Can you hear me and see me? I'm guessing you can. Hello from Sweden, Alan Wade. Our son and daughter will be visiting your region very shortly. Greg M says, I see the feel like it's going to be 45C tomorrow. It says, low sound as always. Loud and clear, says Rasher. All good here, says Mark Gaines. How you doing, Mark Gaines? Mike is alive, barely. It's quite warm. Poor old Calf, she's suffering over there. So pour one out for Calf because she's dying over there. It's very hot. Yeah, we've rushed back from the family do to try and get onto the live stream, hence why it's a little bit late and things are a little bit unplanned and stuff. So do bear with. But yeah, hopefully the sound and vision. I've actually got the NVIDIA sound thing on at the moment, so I kind of want to test to see if that actually works. NVIDIA Broadcast for noise cancelling. So if I click my fingers, can you actually hear it? Is that audible or does that get blocked out? I have no idea. I should have tried this ages ago, but I've never done it. Arali says no. So you can still hear that, can you? Vienna says, turn my sound up to 13. Normally it's on 16. The sound is possibly a little bit lower, to be fair. Charles says, blocked. I heard nothing. Rex says no. So no, what, you didn't hear it? Or broadcast seems to work? And you couldn't hear the clicks? So if I... Do you hear the cough? Or does that get blocked out? I'm really interested to hear. Just your voice. Nope, can hear it. Can you hear Kath in the background talking? It's faint. Cough we can hear. Just about. What about Kath? Can you hear Kath coughing in the background? Can't hear the wife, says Charles. Good stuff. Couldn't hear Kath. No wife cough. Happy days. Right. I will increase the volume ever so slightly, because it is a little bit on the low side, I do admit. How do I change that? Properties, maybe, no. Mixer, global, desktop, mic, aux. They've changed all the settings on this, so I have no idea what's going on now. Oh, that's wrong. So I don't think I can. Properties, filters, audio mixer, options, advanced audio properties. Ah, there we go. So stream mic is up on there. So let's give it another 1 2 1 2 1 2. Let's see. Is that any better? Is it a little bit louder? Can you hear me better now? It's so hot there. It is insane. Yeah, hopefully that should be a little bit better. So, Vianney says, turn off. We like hearing Calf. What can you do? She's like... So tonight's stream, very much unplanned, but ARGB, they all are. So tonight we're going to go through, made some new purchases this week, some of which are interesting, some of which probably are less interesting, but there are some things I need to test to make sure they actually work within the return window. And also we got some very kind donations from the lovely Arali. Thank you very much, Arali. Sent us over a couple of M.2 drives, of all things, which are like basically gold dust at the moment. So we'll give you some lights for that, and also you did a super chat earlier, so you get the lights as well. So thank you very much for that. Let me see, where is my mouse? There we go. Thank you, Mike. Bless you for finding time, family commitments, and in this heat. Is that working? Oh yeah, there it is. There we go.
Is that too bright?
That's right, it's just a bit unexpected.
Sorry. It's not
Oh man. It is it's actually quite windy out, but it's not coming in this direction, which really sucks. So yeah, it is what it is. So thank you, Arali. Let's give you a little heart on there and give you a little like as well. Bless you. And I saw there was another one as well that came in. So Rick H. Thanks, Rick. $5 US. Thank you very much. He's been a member for 57 months and I'm a gold rated plus. Actually, that is an extremely good segue into something else which we need to discuss, which I said I was going to do. I am going to do a separate video for the members that aren't in our live streams as well. So due to recent kind of goings on at YouTube and Google in general, they've kind of, I wouldn't say pressurized, but they've kind of asked creators to take a look at the way that they get monetized, especially through memberships. Because when you set up memberships initially, it gave you an option of kind of like which region are you in and what is your kind of your currency. So obviously we're in the United Kingdom, so we put it down UK pounds, and we thought, well, we don't really offer various different things, so we just thought, well, we'll just do a blanket thing for membership, which was £2.99, or basically £3 a month to support the channel. And as part of that, you got priority responses on YouTube video comments. You also got VIP access on the Discord, which doesn't really mean much, but it just makes you have a nicer rank. Also, you got early access to Mike's Unboxing videos. Now, we've never done any members only videos. They've always been available to members earlier, but they all go out to the general public after a while. So there was never really any benefit in that side of things. So we just tied it all up and thought, right, that's it, that's fine, that should be enough. So moving forward to where we are now, YouTube have asked creators to consider obviously where they are geographically, and also to potentially want to increase prices for various regions, because obviously the exchange rate between, say, for instance, the United Kingdom and Canada is about 2 to 1. So $2.99 here works out, $2.99 Canadian dollars is like £1.50. So someone in Canada paying £1.50 to get the same perks as somebody in the UK paying £3 is a little bit unfair. And obviously that is a slightly more extreme version, but things like European Union, it's a little bit slightly more favorable exchange rate. And obviously the USA as well, which is kind of quite a big one for us as well. But it meant that the USA was paying something like £2.20 or something, whereas UK are paying £3. So it's not unfair. So what we've done is, and what YouTube have done, have basically made it so that all of it is aligned. So wherever you are in the world, you'll still pay £3 UK, but it will be directly linked to your exchange rate. So some of you will be paying more, potentially some of you might be paying less. I don't think there will be anyone like that, but potentially there will be. So because obviously we appreciate your support, but we also are fully aware of the situation around the globe. Some people just don't have the extra money. So what we've done is we've added additional tiers. So currently there are 5 members tiers. Yes, Kath? Okay, I'll come back to the question. There's 5 tiers. So I've tried to do it so it's a little bit sort of interesting and also PC related. So there is kind of like a generic supporter tier. That's the entry level. And for that, you basically get kind of very little. You get a different what's it called, logo thing, different color on the live chat, and you can use the emojis. That is basically £1. So if you just want to spend £1 just to support the channel, you don't want anything else, you can do that. So again, for those of you that don't want to spend £3, you can spend £1. For $2.99, there is the kind of, actually I got to try to think now, there might be more layer. Basically, go over to the member section, you can see it. So there's a $2.99, which gives you what the previous one was. So that is now called the 80 plus gold. There is an 80 plus platinum and titanium as well. And there's a bronze, so midway level. So if you want to spend a little bit less. So essentially, yeah, there's power supply ratings, and as you go up, you pay more. The top two tiers don't really actually get you anything extra, but they allow you to pay more if you want to. So it's entirely up to you. But essentially, for those of you that were previously on the $2.99 tier, which was pretty much everybody, you are now on the 80 plus gold tier, which is the same price. So, but like I said, there's going to be now lower tiers and higher tiers. So if you want to swap and change, you can do. Just take a look at the memberships and you can see what privileges you get and what things are going to be available to you. So if you are a Discord user and you want to have the Discord VIP rank, then this is the starting place, the 80 plus gold. If you don't really care about that and you just want early access to videos, you can pay the £2 tier, get early access, and you don't get the elevated rank in Discord. The generic one is £1, the early access is £2, early access and Discord perks is £3. Hopefully it makes sense. There may be some teething issues potentially along the way, but hopefully it kind of makes sense and just gives you all more options. So if you want to give a little bit more, you can do. If you want to give a little bit less, you can do. Simple as that. And if you want to change your tier from an upper one to a lower one, that's fine. We don't care. It's absolutely fine. Do whatever you need to do. So hopefully Patreon members are still exactly the same at the moment. So there are still the various tiers available there. Nothing's changed on Patreon side. This is purely for YouTube. Okay. There we go. Hello, Cool Cats. Hello, the man. Right, 8:43. Questions. Right, questions. Alan. So Alan asks, hey Mike, I was watching last night the video you made for BleachBit. Is it generally safe to use? Yes, I would. Well, I would say there's a very strong kind of disclaimer for all videos that everything you do is essentially kind of on your own head be it type thing. But also everything that I do in the videos, obviously I am doing on my own machine. I don't use virtual machines. I use my own computers, which is either my streaming PC or my editing PC. So I've got a little bit of faith in the programs that I'm using. Now, some of them I uninstall after I've used them for a while. Some of them I keep on my machine, but they are all used on real production use machines. So if that kind of gives you any idea of the confidence I've got in the apps, that is hopefully what I intend to do. I know there are lots of channels out there. There's two that I know of definitely that do it almost every day. And all they do is just fire up a virtual machine and just do this stuff on a virtual machine. But that just seems like either you've got no faith in the product. I don't know. It doesn't make sense to me. Why would you use a virtual machine when you can use your own machine? If it's such a good program and you're promoting it to other people, why not do it on your own machine? Just saying. There you go. Hopefully that answers that question. Rasher. Bless your heart. Rasher has upgraded his membership to 80 plus platinum. Thank you kindly. Better have lights for that.
Sticking to me.
That is very kind of you, Rasher. You are a very, very generous individual. We do thank you. Other questioner. So there's another questionnaire actually just underneath that from Mayhems. Hey, watched a few live streams and a lot of your videos. Well, thank you very much, first of all. I was wondering, do you actually game much? And if so, what are some games that you recently played and what are your favorite games of all time? Some very good questions there. I will try and answer them quickly so we're not stuck on it all night. I do game. I do enjoy gaming. I enjoy it slightly less now. I don't think there's as much variety now in games as what there used to be. It seemed to be years ago, studios and manufacturers and developers were more keen to kind of explore different genres. Whereas now I do feel, apart from the indie games, the more mainstream games do seem to be all just based around tried and tested, proven, like money spinners, which is obviously it makes sense, they're businesses, but also as well, it just means there's less games that come out and that can turn into being like real gems. Personally, myself, because I don't get a lot of time to game, normally it's after I finish work for the day, so sort of 10 o'clock at night, I will turn onto the PC, I'll close my email, put the Discord onto the side just so I can not ignore it, but just not have it in my face, and I'll fire up something like Fortnite. I quite enjoy Fortnite, especially with them changing kind of themes every now and then. Quite like that. Don't always like some of the themes and some of the things they add in. The current one with the new collectibles that you can get, that's a little bit annoying. Not really keen on that, but I guess it just makes it a bit different, so it keeps it a little bit fresh. So Fortnite, I would say, is one I turn to quite frequently. Also, if I want something which is a bit more competitive, then I'll go with CS2. Not so much recently, because I find that there's so many kind of hackers and cheats on there that it just gets a little bit tedious after a while. On some servers, it's just like, why am I bothering? Just, I'm starting the map, I'm choosing a weapon, I walk a couple of foot and I'm dead. It's like, well, that was pointless. So I do get a little bit peeved at that at times. I think the matchmaking needs to be adjusted on that quite considerably. But CS2 is one I do enjoy, and I've played for many, many years, ever since the very early beta releases of Counter-Strike when it first came out. So a long-time player, not very good, but long-time player. Obviously, because of where we are at the moment with the football and the World Cup, Rocket League is very interesting because you can actually support or be a member of your national side to try and accumulate points for the leaderboard. That's kind of good, and there's a few interesting things there. I do quite like Rocket League in general. I think it's quite one of those games where it's quite easy to pick up. It's easy to play, but it's hard to master. So I do like Rocket League. That's pretty good. If I've got a little bit more time on my hands, I'll dive into something a little bit more to invest my time in. Things like Leisure Suit Larry, Robocop, Rogue City, like that. Tempted to get the new version or the new add-on, but I don't really get a great deal of time to invest in it, so I don't really play that as much as I'd like to. And I also like things like Theme Park and Theme Hospital and 2 Point Hospital, the new version. Those I quite enjoy as well. So yeah, quite an eclectic bunch of games. Also, I quite like World Series of Poker. That's quite interesting as well, but never with real money. That's just very scary. But yeah, I think that's it. What games do you not play? Let me know. Yes, Gav. What time? Mine doesn't seem to have done anything. I've not got it. Mayhem's was the last question I've got on mine. Hang on, it's woke up now. Here we go. I got you. 8:51. Alan's asking, do you think Windows has some kind of ulterior motive in extending updates for Windows 10 for another year? Hard to say. I don't think there's necessarily an ulterior motive. I think if you were Microsoft and you look at the amount of people that are still using Windows 10 and the pressure they're probably getting from Kath and other business users who are stuck on Windows 10 and are very happy to be on Windows 10 and have possibly software which is written for Windows 10, then I kind of think it makes sense for them to offer another year's support. Give it its due, Windows 10 is still a very stable operating system. Not that Windows 11 isn't. I think in general Windows 11 is excellent, but some people prefer Windows 10. Again, there's people that were the very same when it came out with Windows 7 and Windows 8. Windows 8, actually no, Windows 8 was trash, but Windows 7 was brilliant. People loved it, and people hated Windows 10. But now we've got to the point where Windows 10 is the more cherished operating system, and Windows 11 is the kind of ginger stepchild of the Microsoft family. So it always goes in cycles, and we'll find in another 5-10 years maybe less than that, Windows 11 will be the favorite operating system. It's just how the cycles go. Ulterior motive, no, I would say no. I think it's purely a business thing. They would have been lobbied quite hard by businesses to keep it going. They're fully aware that a lot of people are still using it around the world, and the extra support costs for the ESUs is minimal. And for some businesses, they can charge for that as well. So it's an additional revenue stream, whereas otherwise potentially they may have lost customers to another operating system. I doubt it, but maybe they would. No, I don't think there's an ulterior motive, is the answer. Dutch Jan, question, Mike, completely different question. Do you know O&O ShutUp10? Yes, I've used O&O ShutUp10. I think there's O&O ShutUp10 Plus and Plus Plus. I think there's a couple of different versions of it as well. So I'm sure I've used it, and I'm sure I've demonstrated it on the channel at some point. If I haven't, I don't understand why I haven't. It's very good, worked very well indeed. I think my only criticism was at the time when I used it, I think the interface wasn't particularly good. Excuse me. I have a frog in my throat. So let me clear my frog. Mayhem says, good selection, to be fair. Hard when you have little time. It is. When Grand Theft Auto 6 comes out, I would be amazed if I buy it. I don't think I will, not for myself. If there is a new kind of benchmark built into it where everybody's using it to benchmark, I will buy it for benchmarking purposes, but it would be very unlikely that I would spend any time in GTA 6 myself. Same with GTA 5. I played, I think, probably 2 hours at most. I just didn't get it. But anyway, there you go.
Go to your emails.
Go to my emails. Okay. Mark Gaines, thank you so much. Wow, £50 from Mark Gaines. Is there a message there? Let's have a look. I will see. Is it? I'll do my emails.
Are you in emails?
I'm in emails now. You've received money. Mark Gaines. A little support for the channel. I just got done swapping out my son's Sapphire 7700 XT Pure for an RX 9070 XT. Very nice. Excellent stuff. I bet he's over the moon with that. 7700 XT to a 9070, that's a pretty significant jump. I hope you possibly got a new power supply, or the power supply that was in there was suitable for the task, because the 9070 XT can draw a considerable amount of power. Considerably more than the 7700 XT anyway. But amazing. Thank you so much, Mark. Very generous indeed. Rick H, being on fixed income, it limits how much I can give in a super chat. I give when I can. Hey, Rick, we appreciate absolutely everything that you do. We appreciate what everybody does. And we are only too aware that people's financial statuses differ from time to time. We all have these peaks and troughs in our lives. Hopefully there are more peaks than troughs, but it is what it is, and you just got to do what you got to do. And if there's bills to pay, you got to put food on the table, you got rent to pay, you got bills to pay. Those have got to come first. 100%. Those have got to come first. And also the buffer zone for you and your family. If you feel that donating is going to be like you want to save every penny you can, just in case something goes wrong at home, totally understand it. 100%. Wreckfest, Rick H says, oh yes, sorry, I missed that out. Wreckfest and Wreckfest 2. Wreckfest 2 is getting better. No, not sure. Semrab, hey Mike, Catherine Mubsters, trying to watch on the phone. Scarborough North Beach. Sent Joe to catch some waves. Nice. I bet that's lovely on the beach. Nice breeze. Could do with that here. Working. Is the chat stopped? I've got to keep on scrolling up and going back. Mark says, yes, the PSU is 850 watts. Excellent. Good choice. Dutch Jan says, just checked out video. O&O ShutUp10 from a year ago. Great. I thought I did. I remember doing the ShutUp10 I don't think I like the interface, which is a really sort of stupid thing to say, really. If it does a good job, the interface shouldn't matter, but for some people it does. Mike, you've got mail, says Smart Games. Oh, yes, I did check that out. Very cool, very cool. Oh, I think I got more mail. Or is that a repeat message? Oh no, it's a new one from Gary. Gary S. Let's go into my. Oh, actually, I'm not going to go to PayPal. PayPal's a pain in the ass. This is much easier. I'll just leave my emails open. From Gary. Gary has sent you £15. Thank you so much, Gary. So he left a message there as well. For continued success from Gary. I can never pronounce your surname, so I'm just going to say Gary S. If you, it's, am I allowed to even say it out loud? I don't know.
I think it's his YouTube name as well.
It might be his. Yeah, it might be his. I think that is his YouTube name as well. I can't pronounce it. SIATKA. I'm sure you've told me this 1,000 times how to pronounce it, but I don't want to not pronounce it correctly. Thank you so much for your kindness. Bless your hearts. Sarah says, cool weather, lovely walk, Mike, but 5G sucks. Grr. Oh, no. Gary says, see you later. No worries. Thanks for dropping by, and thank you for your kind contribution. Alright, so not using your iPad tonight. I have got it. It is over there. I should actually have it and have my email on it so I can see things coming in. But it was a last minute stream, so you'll forgive me for not being completely prepared. And actually sweating like crazy. Right, have I missed anything else in there? Have I missed anything? No. Alan says, I enjoy gaming more now that I'm retired, as I have more time, but people think at 74 years old is too old for gaming. Alan, don't say that. That is completely wrong. I would disagree 100%. It is actually a scientifically proven fact that people in their later years who do play video games actually have better cognitive function than people that don't. Scientifically proven fact. They might be crap, but they have better cognitive skills, apparently. Hand-to-eye coordination obviously would be something which you would definitely need, which you do lose over the years, especially if you don't use it. So I think it's great. Yeah, I know people in their 80s that play video games. So yeah, keep it up. I'm sure I will be, as long as I'm, well, alive and I have visual and manipulation of my digits. I'll be playing games, I would have thought. Probably still making YouTube videos. Oh dear. What a thought that is, being in my 80s and playing and making YouTube videos. If anyone will ever watch it, that would be fantastic. Viali says, I only play Star Trek Fleet Command on my phone at the moment. Oh. Is that preference, or is that for some reason? Matthew Day, Tomb Raider 5 or 6 remastered is free on Prime. Ah, that's interesting. Gary says better than the super chat. Yeah, it's super chats are taxed quite heavily by YouTube, unfortunately. But there you go. Is what it is. Right, let's get on and have a look at some of the things that we've actually bought. Actually, probably a good time to turn the lights on. As much as I'm going to regret this, I swear. Close that up a little, because otherwise we'll get flies in here.
Flies better than sweating.
Right, open a little bit now. Oh, sorry. Oh my god, it's just so hot. So I have a drink. Proper cola. Tastes like cough medicine and Swedish bitters. It's cold, so that worked for me. Let's get my trousers unstuck from my legs. Dave Endo says, describes Mike perfectly. Awake, but the lights aren't on. Bless your heart. Paul Lamont says, yay, a good excuse to be a PC gamer. Yes, it's good for you. Genuinely is good for you. Okay, right, this week, purchases. Now, the first one, some of you will see this and go, Mike, you've reviewed this before, and you didn't like it. You'd be right. I didn't dislike it, I just didn't think it made sense. But at the moment, this B850 Gaming Plus Wi-Fi 6E is £109 on Amazon UK, which I think is an absolutely incredible deal. And if you want to pick one up, the links for it are in our Discord. It's in the Bargains No chat, and I think I posted it a couple of other places as well. That's chat. Will we get a semi-final between Norway and Switzerland? You never know. You never know. Possible. England might win. I doubt it, but there you go. So yeah, £109, 99 pence for a brand spanking new, not refurbished or anything, just a brand spanking new MSI B850 Gaming Plus Wi-Fi 6E. And it's a white motherboard. Not a racist comment, but there is a tax to be applied to components which are of the white vernacular, or they look like this. What am I looking at? Ah, Mr. Holzman. How are you, sir? Hopefully you're doing well. It's probably warmer where you are in Arizona, but we're not used to it. So I'm dying. Half is dying also. We are dying. It is rather warm. David Thompson says, cheap motherboard, yay! But RAM and SSD cost $1 million. Ooh. They do, which is extremely unfortunate. But you've got to take the small wins, because there aren't many in life. Excited. See this one over there? So this is the MSI B850 Gaming Plus Wi-Fi. A very, well, I would say pleasant looking board. It's not entirely pleasant. It's a little bit kind of all over the place, but it does everything that you need it to do. It's a modern board, so it's going to get plenty of support. It supports all the AM5 socketed processors that were ever made. So that is great. 4 RAM slots, which you clearly are not going to be able to populate at all, at least not for the foreseeable, unless you put dummy sticks in, which you can 3D print, so you never know. Send it back, Riali. Stop it. Yeah, it is basically all your bare essentials in one board, but it's actually got a pretty decent VRM solution on here, and also it's got a dual EPS connector on the top there. So that means that potentially you can put a ton of juice through this board should you wish to. It's got a pretty decent heatsink over both parts of the VRM. You've got a small M.2 heatsink over the Lightning Gen 5 port. So this supports PCI Express Gen 5 ×4 in the top slot. Unfortunately, the graphics card slot is a little bit slower. So this is going to be PCI Express Gen 4 ×16. But to be honest with you, it's absolutely fine. And Gen 5 cards, unless you're particularly unlucky, will generally run fine on a Gen 4 slot. There'll be a very small performance penalty, but it'd be pretty minuscule. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. Front-mounted USB Type-C port. You've got all the fan headers, etc., pump ports, all the stuff you need. Heatsink over the chipset, 4 SATA ports. You've got your front USB Type-A's, a couple of USB headers, an additional M.2 slot at the bottom there, which I think is a little bit of a kind of a downside of this. Considering what this chipset is actually able to do, only having 2 M.2 slots, leaving this bare in the middle, is a little bit on the cheap side, but 2 is better than none. So yeah, I'm pretty happy. and there's none on the back, so there is just those two. Charles Ballard, no sign of crinkling from the anti-static bag and no signs of the board sliding out. Oh, good. That's working well. Arali, centre back is missing a PCI slot below the GPU slot. Oh, well, there, yeah. It does look a bit weirdly bare, doesn't it? But the thing is, realistically, if you can have a graphics card there, it actually makes perfect sense not to have anything there to save money. And also it's got the nice quick release ports on there, which is great. For Mike, if I don't have a front panel USB Type-C, can I just buy the cable and keep it inside the case? If I don't have a front panel USB-C, can I just buy the cable and keep it? Oh, what? Actually, on your case doesn't have a USB Type-C. Yeah, you can plug a cable into there and just have it dangling somewhere, or get creative and just Dremel out a hole in your case. Or if you want to, if you do want to get better access or more permanent access, you can get ones which plug into your PCI Express port. So you can just get a card which fits in there, which will give you USB-Cs on the back, which we've actually done videos on quite a few times. So yeah, that is another option. Skystalker, what time? Oh yeah, I thought part of the B650 spec was PCIe for the video card. No, it doesn't seem so. I think the B650 and the B850 spec, well actually all the AMD specs in general, are all very kind of lapse. I think one of the few things that it had to have was PCI Express Gen 4 times 16 and also a Gen 5 top slot. I think also a USB flashback is part of it as well, and also 2.5 gigabit LAN. Those are definitely parts of it. I think there's a specific amount of fast USB ports, Type A's, you can have as well. But yeah, the spec seems to be very lapse, I think is probably the right word. Hey, Letter. Semramp is nice looking in white from a distance, like Scarborough. Very good. Could put an M.2 slot in there. Yeah, actually an M.2 slot in there would have been ideal. But it is one of those things. Like, this is £105. I think this is the cheapest AM5 motherboard that you can buy, ATX style. I don't think there's a cheaper board. So if you are looking at the very entry level, even things like the Gigabyte Ultra Durable doesn't come in as cheap as this. I think they start about $129 here in the UK at the moment. So this is, by a reasonable amount, the very cheapest ATX sized B850 chipset motherboard in the UK, with 4 RAM slots, which you can't fill. And Wi-Fi 6E as well, which is better than a Wi-Fi 6, obviously. Essentially, you'll get very similar speeds to what you would with Wi-Fi 7. So that's pretty good. Jim, if a whiteboard bothers you, don't look for older ASRock B650 live mixer, it's orange. Oh, those live mixer boards really upset me on a like psychological level. It just reminds me of graffiti, and I don't like graffiti at all. Humphrey, any suggestions for a micro ATX with PCIe Gen 5? Micro ATX with PCIe Gen 5, you could probably look at maybe the Sapphire board, the Sapphire Pure B650, which we reviewed. If not, you got the Asus Tough Gaming Micro ATX. We had one of those on. That's actually a really good board. Very top line features, but quite expensive. But it's a good one. Matthew Day says, I think it might have gone up. Oh, typical. Whenever I buy stuff, it goes up. To be fair, I bought this on Monday or Tuesday. So Amazon prices, you know it is. If I can find the link, I'll look on my, yeah, actually, if I look on my Amazon, I'll see if it's still, because sometimes when you search Amazon, it's not always the sellers that come up that you may have bought stuff from. So let's have a look. You, no, don't want Catherine, I want, it's me. Oh, switch accounts. Oh God, I'm not logged in on here, am I? My fucking bloody Amazon computer. That was going to let me log in. Let me see if I can log in. I'll see. Actually, just search for it. B850 gaming plus Wi-Fi 6E. Right, no, currently it says there purchase September 2025 because I did buy it a while back as well. Currently it's gone up £10, so it's £119.99 with free delivery for Amazon Prime members. So even still, £120 is still what I can see as being about, yeah, arguably the cheapest ATX board you can get. There's a 850 Gaming Pro 139, so that's an extra 20 quid. But yeah, on AM5 it would appear, for ATX at least, this is the cheapest board. So I like it. I think it's an half decent board. And it's one of those things that, again, we're so used to buying just generic boards, and then you put that into like a nice white case, and it doesn't look quite right. And we are at a point in the computing industry where you can't always build exactly what you want because obviously it's not available. So why not just make your rig look nicer? And so when you look at it, you actually appreciate it like a work of art. And by doing so, by getting a nice whiteboard like this, white case, white graphics card, etc., etc., you can make a really truly stunning system which looks far more expensive than it actually is, especially when you're saving that amount of money that you are with a motherboard like this. Anyway, so there you go. There is that one. Rudy Bill, I was listening at 10, now at 18. I don't know why that is. Some people say that the audio is fine, but yet some people say it's low. I don't understand why. Why the difference? But apparently, David Underwood says, like my PC. Yes. David's gone all Lian Li. And apparently you can't hear the crinkles when I'm doing this, can you now? Sounds pretty cool. Dutch Jan, question, M.2 one slot from CPU supports PCIe Gen 5 times 4. Supports up to for Ryzen 8000 series. How does that work? Different speeds. Right, so if you're using a Ryzen 8000 series, a Ryzen 8000 series has got less PCIe lanes, so they divvy them up differently. Essentially, the board will, all the slots on the board technically can do any speed, but it's limited by what your CPU can actually communicate to those lanes with, whether it be PCI Express, whether it be M.2. It's all about how the CPU connects to it. Or if you're looking at the lower slots, it all depends on how your CPU talks to the chipset and then in turn talks to the other slots. So Ryzen 9000 and 7000 series, all of them pretty much will do PCI Express Gen 5. If you're looking at 8000 series, it will only do Gen 4. Very much like what we had with AM4. So on AM4, if you had the 5000 series or 3000 series, you'd get PCI Express Gen 4. If you went for a 4000 series chip or one of the built-in graphics ones, they took 8 lanes away from the CPU and give it to the graphics. So having 8 less lanes meant that everything else you did, PCI Express or NVMe, was essentially half the speed. It's quite complicated, at least the way I say it, but if you look at it on a diagram, it actually makes a lot of sense. Anyway, so there we go. That was one of the bargains of the week. So I was actually, I'm pretty pleased with that. 110 quid. I can't even buy a used one for that price. Really can't. Not that board anyway. Matthew Day is also saying, yeah, the MSI, let's click on that, the Pro 8 B840P Wi-Fi motherboard with Wi-Fi 7, £99. That's pretty good. For that chipset, that ain't bad. Alexa says, I've never had any trouble making my PC look just like I want. Good. Greg says, no low here. Not low. Okay. Bull Mongrel, how you doing? Arnold Albert, how you doing, Arnold Albert? Good to see you. I think there's something up. There's been an update to Chrome today, and now it's not doing what it should do. Bull Mongrel, is there a question? Okay, how do we feel about Thermalright AIOs? Now that must be, I was putting out the subliminal thing because that is exactly what we're going to take a look at next. So that is a very good segue. Is that what you said it, Kath? You trying to be smart? Yeah, no, but you alerted my attention to it. No. Right. This week, another bargain of the century. How much do you think these were on Amazon? These are brand spanking new in the shrink wrap. 360mm AIO cooler, 3 ARGB fans, a essentially silent pump. So, what did she ask? Where was it? Why do update break more things than they fix? I really don't know. I really don't know. See? Bull Mongrel. No way. Here we go. Semrab says the B840 for Intel. No, the B840 is basically what the A620 was. So it's basically a kind of a cut down version. Arali says £120. No, sir. You are way, way off. So this is the Thermalright Frozen Prism 360 White ARGB. How much do you think these were on offer for on Amazon this week? Some of you will know because I posted it in the chat because I couldn't believe it, so I did it at everybody because this was insanely cheap. Sky says, wasn't that like 35 quid, Mike? Getting close. Bull Mongrel says 60 quid. You are halfway there. This and this one, £29.90 each. Less than £30 for an AIO. Unbelievable. The best I've known these before, I think, was $39.99. That was like a Black Friday a couple of years back. But bizarrely, found them on Amazon, £29.90. Brand new, still in the shrink wrap. Absolutely incredible value for money. You cannot argue with £30 for an AIO, especially in the days where there's things like that crazy OLED screened Lian Li one that I've been showing you, which is £300. It is literally 10 times more expensive than this. And is it going to be 10 times more effective? No. Yes, it's got an LCD screen. Well, it's got an OLED screen. So some of the pricing is understandable, but for £30, I genuinely don't think you can fault this at all. That is incredible value for money. And I just want to make sure that there is actually an AIO in here. I deliberately didn't bother opening it because, well, it's kind of scary that you can get this much for this little. And yes, it all appears to be in there, and it's all shrink wraps, all brand new. Got your fitting kit. There's your AIO with the pre-installed fans. Absolutely incredible. And these are exceptionally easy to fit. The fitting kits from Thermalright are excellent. They're borderline universal between all of their setups. And also, what they do give you in this one, which is slightly strange, is you can actually swap out the cap for the pump. So the pump head has got a white cap, and also it's got a black one as well, which you can put in. I don't know why they put that in there as well. Very strange, but seems, ow, that hurt. Let's clear that. Is my chat broken, or have you just stopped chatting? They've stopped chatting. That's good. Good question. Probably melting somewhere. So yeah, £60 for this. Sorry, £60 for two of them is absolutely bonkers. Now, it's cheap, but there are some downsides. Now, one of the small downsides is the fact that the fans aren't internally daisy chained, so you do have to physically wire them up yourself. Boo-hoo, I know. It's not the end of the world, is it? And you do get a rather nice fitting kit with all the bits in there. You get your thermal paste. You also get a little 3-port hub as well. So you can plug all of your fans into one, then plug that directly into your system, because those actually aren't on a daisy chain. The ARGB ones are daisy chained. So yeah, it's great. 4-pin PWM fans. The fans are really good. Nice bearings in them, very quiet. Kind of not really much more you can ask for. And it even comes with TF7 thermal paste rather than the TF4, which it used to come with. So yeah, I was very, very pleased with that. And it's come at a really good time, because I do want to change the AIO in the Lian Li O&O Vision, which is really good, but it's like, in the moment, I've got the crazy Lian Li OLED, whatever it is, some crazy name cooler in there, which is like insanely expensive. And I don't really want to keep it in there because it is crazy expensive. So putting a £30 water cooler in there, which will do pretty much 95% of the cooling performance that the other AIO will, for a tenth of the price, literally, to me makes a lot of sense. And also, like, realistically, with these, you can run them 24/7 as long as you want. Like, if the pump starts going for £30, do you care? Just buy another one. Incredible value for money. These type of things used to be like 100 quid when 360mm AIs were like a thing, when they started being more popular. 100 quid all day long, 120 quid plus. The fact that they can actually sell these at £29.90 and still make some money somewhere is mad. And also, it does highlight how much money other brands are actually making on these things. Because I would imagine £29.90, that isn't probably far off the bill of materials for this. It can't be. Like, arguably the fans are probably worth what, £5 each? The radiator, a fiver. Pump, fiver. So it all mounts up. My chat has died again. Yeah. I'll keep on scrolling up and scrolling back down. Shame the black one isn't on offer. Yeah, I would have bought a couple of those as well. Rash says that is an amazing price in this cost of living crisis era. Semirab says, damn, I thought they were black. No, unfortunately they were white ones. Skystalker says, it's a bit weird not being able to hear the cellophane and box opening noises when Mike is opening stuff. Dutchjan says, the longer I listen, the stranger your voice sounds. Well, that's just being Bristolian. Gentleman Bad Boys watching on the Shield. Cool. Rick says they'd be great for a flip PC. Yeah, definitely. Inky says, hi Mike, will I benefit if I turn my onboard graphics off? I have a dedicated GPU. Probably won't benefit, really. The only thing you might really benefit from would maybe slightly cooler running, but not really anything else. It's unfortunate that if you turn off the onboard graphics, you don't magically get your PCI Express lanes back, which is a shame. Rasher says, time will tell how long they last. More importantly, will they leak on your expensive components? And Viali says, currently it's £40 for the black one. A lot of people have said that about water cooling. Now, I've been a pretty strong advocate for water cooling, especially like budget units like this, for probably about the last 5 years or more. And I don't recall ever having one of them leak. I've had pumps go, certainly, or get noisy at least, and fluid to be evaporating, but I've never actually had one leak. That is yet to happen, and I've probably gone through arguably, I don't know, 50, maybe more. And you'd think with that sort of 50 to 1 would be a pretty safe bet, but no, I've not had one leak yet. David says, yes, but you do get back the virtual RAM. Yeah, I suppose that is, I guess it depends how it works, because if you've got a physical dedicated GPU and you're using your integrated graphics, I'm pretty sure that Windows will only allocate 1 gig or half a gig of virtual memory for the VRAM for the onboard graphics, which I guess if you've only got 16 gigs probably does work out helpful, but if you've got 32 gigs you're probably not going to notice it really. Certainly won't get any real kind of tangible benefits. Rody Bill says $119.99 now for the motherboard, I guess you mean. Yeah. Simrab says, maybe prices to turnover stock as no one building. Great upgrade though, very tempted, but waste of existing parts. Yeah, like I said, I bought 2 of these and I've got definitely a use for one of them, 100%. It's also going to be really nice because in that Lian Li 11 Vision M, it's got that compartment at the top which covers up the AIO. So even though this doesn't match the rest of the system, it doesn't matter because I can hide it. Or if I do want to, I can synchronize the lighting with Lian Li's new L-Connect 3 and Open RGB plugin. So even if my device isn't an official Lian Li device, I can still synchronize it using the Open RGB plugin. So Open RGB will take all the non-Lian Li devices and synchronize them with the color schemes and lighting styles that you're choosing, which is, yeah, pretty cool. I will be doing a video. Now, you probably noticed that on Friday, there were 3 videos that went out, all related to the new Lian Li fans, the new Flex range, which are phenomenal. They are exceptionally good, but they're exceptionally expensive. But they do give you, I would almost argue, the perfect choices in terms of flexibility. So you can use the Lian Li software, you can use 3-pin 5-volt addressable RGB, you can use USB, you can use combinations of all those, and also you can use wireless as well. So if you want to minimize your cabling, you can have like 30 fans on one header, or sorry, on one controller, like one USB stick. Imagine if you have 30 fans in your case. Imagine how much wiring that would entail. Realistically, in this new Lian Li setup, if you've got that, you could arguably get away with using just 4 SATA plugs for power. You'd never even see them. They'll be in the back of the PC. You don't need to plug in anything to your motherboard at all, apart from the USB plug, and turn on the L-Connect software. It is insane. I really do like it. Dave Underhill says 2 GB is the standard setting for VRAM. It used to be. I don't think it is anymore. I think the standard setting now tries to use as little as possible, with the option, if you set it to gaming mode, I think it switches to 2. I'd have to check it again. I haven't done it recently, but previously, looking in the BIOS, you had a couple of options. So it's like Force GPU or Force iGPU, custom, and then you could allocate it wherever you wanted to, or gaming mode, which I think by default might be 4 gigs it gives it, 2 gigs, I don't know. Anyway, Yeah, I get where you're coming from. Dutch Jan says, I don't like the Lian Li fans. I think they are ugly. That's fine. I'm quite happy. I originally, when I first saw Lian Li fans back in probably the early 2010s, I guess it would have been. I didn't like them. I didn't like the Lian Li brand really at all. And it hasn't been until probably the last arguably 3 years or so that I've actually become a bigger Lian Li fan. I think they do offer some really strangely competitive prices on some things. And also I've noticed some of the Lian Li fans, some of the favorites of the SLs and the TLs, especially places like Overclockers here in the UK, they've done them like half price. So like Lian Li fans are expensive, but they are extremely high quality. But I don't think I know anybody who's ever had a Lian Li fan fail that hasn't been their own fault. And if they do fail, they do generally swap them out pretty easily. They've all got 3-year warranties as well. So you pay premium for it, but they cost more. And also now they've got multiple options. So you've got the SLs, which have got the illuminated blade. You've got the TLs, which have got the standard black or white blades. You've also got the LCD versions in both. Yeah, just there's lots of versions. You've got the infinity fans as well. So if you want the infinity mirror on the side and on the blades, you can. If you don't, yeah, there's just a ridiculously wide range of products they do right now. Anyway, so that is the AIOs. I was very pleased with those. Also, something I was very pleased with from our resident AI bot, Mr. Arali, Two Jabs himself. I think I mentioned on a stream a couple of weeks back, I'm not sure when it was entirely, but we're talking about M.2 drives, and I said I've got a couple of 2 terabyte drives. It's really awkward putting those into a system if you're doing a flip system, because people don't want to pay the premium for having 2 terabytes of storage. 1 terabyte is ideal, 512 is a happy medium. And especially now with things like the Steam Machine coming out, where it comes with 512 or 2 gigs. So if you want to pay 1,400 for it, you can get the 2 gig version. If you want to pay just over $1,000, you can have the 512 version. And of course, obviously, when prices change, you can take these things out, use them as spare drives and put something bigger in. So Arali, bless his heart, actually found these on Amazon at what appeared to be a very competitive price for today's market. So this is a brand I've not actually heard of before, but it's called Six. So it is a NVMe PCI Express Gen 4x4 with read speeds of up to 7,422 megabytes per second, which is pretty darn quick. It's 3D NAND flash, obviously. I'm trying to see if it's got any details on here. I do need to have a close look inside, so it's all about the actual TBWs look to be pretty good, like 600 TBW, which for a smaller drive is absolutely fine. Realistically, most people never fill a drive anyway to make it run down. But yeah, they look to be pretty good, and they come with a 5-year limited warranty as well. But yeah, this is a brand I've not seen of or heard of before, so they seem to be somewhat new on the market. I'm interested to see what chips are actually on it. I'm going to guess they're going to be YTMC or maybe CXMT, possibly. I would be very surprised if they were like Hynix or Samsung or Micron. Very surprised it was that. I wonder actually. I haven't opened these yet because I haven't got around to doing much this week because it's been ridiculously hot. But maybe we'll have a look and see. Rasher says I have 11 Lian Li Infinity Mirror in my system. Only 11? That's rookie numbers. 11 is more than enough. So there we go. They're gonna line us already. Does it say? I wonder if these are on the any database anywhere of what they actually are. Or batch number. Warranty void if removed. Well, thanks for that. So let's see if I can peel this back without damaging it. Which is not going to be... Don't do this at home, kids. come in. Oh, this makes me very, very nervous. But I do need to do it. Oh my god. I remember years ago when NVMe drives first come out, I think it was actually an SSD I had. And I stupidly pulled the sticker off when it was hot. And it was pretty well wedged on the sticker because it was actually one of those like thermal stickers. And I actually managed to pull the NAND flash off of the board. So fortunately, it was the very early days of M.2 drives in this form factor. So I just got hold of Amazon and said, look, the chips just come off. And fortunately, at that time, they replaced it. Or I think they gave me a refund, so I just bought another. But yeah, do be careful when you're removing these stickers because potentially you could actually pull the chip off of the board if it's very, very warm. Now, there's only going to be one chip on here, I think. Oh, actually, there's two. So this must be using two 256 gig modules because it looks like there's space for 4. So let's get this in front of the camera. I don't think that's a proper thermal sticker. But I'll give you a close-up. Hopefully the camera will focus on that. You can see, so this is a 512, so we've got two 256 gig modules, got a controller there in the middle, which from the logo on it looks like it might be a Scion, but I'll have to have a close look under the microscope. But there you go, you see what it's all about. And where is my magnifying doodle? It's covered in dust. It's like the Sahara here at the moment. So let's see what we can see. Actually, I can't really see there's much printed on the RAM at all. Oh, there we go. Actually, what's the controller first of all? So the controller is a SM2268XT2F AA. Can somebody type that into Google and tell me what the heck it is? So Silicon Motion, so SM2268XT2F. Then there's AA after it. Someone chuck it in the chat and see what. Right, it says I am cringing, rather nervous, Mike. It's fine. I think the chat has stopped there. Greg M, these off-brand SSD are fine if you do not care about the data, or if you do, then make regular backups. A 5-year warranty is pointless if you have to ship something back to China. Well, these are from Amazon, so it'll be like Amazon warranty, at least for probably the first year, at least anyway. Does anyone put it in? No, I will try and do it myself if I can remember that number. So SM2268 XT2F. Silicon Motion SM2268X is a high-performance DRAM-less Gen 4x4 NVMe SSD controller designed for power-efficient and cost-effective solid-state drives. Utilizing a 12nm process, it pushes drives at up to 7,400 megabytes read and 6,800 megabytes write. That's pretty good. While relying on host buffer memory, or HBM technology, instead of an expensive onboard DRAM chip. So that's all right. Supports modern TLC and QLC 3D NAND. So yeah, this will be power efficient. It uses the smart clock gating, which I've seen on newer controllers. So the built-in intelligent power management automatically powers down unused logic blocks in real time, greatly reducing power draw. So potentially you may not even need a particularly aggressive cooler for this. So that's pretty nice. So let's have a look now and see what the RAM actually is. So the RAM is a very unusual one. I'll type this into the thing. So S29. F2TO. 2TO. Could be an O, could be a 0. No one knows. BEELC. BEELC. If anything comes up for that, nope. I'm not entirely surprised that didn't come up. So let's change the T0. Right, nothing still. Am I writing this right? S29 F2 T0 or TO. Oh, 8 EELCH. What was a B? Nope, still nothing. Yeah, go on. Kath can read it out. She's got much better eyes than me. Do you need the magnifier? On the RAM chips. There's one chip each end. Let's get Kath to do it. She's better. SM? Just S2. The end ones. Not the middle one. Yep. 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 There's two E's, isn't there? LC. She needs the magnifier.
It's a bit. In some lights it looks like a C, and in other lights it looks like an E.
The RAM is Panglan brand. S2 9F 2T 08 EELC.
It's a C.
So ECLC.
Sorry.
LC. LCH. Hey, that's not coming up. Well, actually, saying that, yeah. There's a MT29 F2TO8 EELC, which is Micron.
LCH.
Yeah, that's Micron. Micron TLC triple leveled cell. Okay, so potentially the direct part number isn't coming up, but if you change the first number from S to MT, it comes up as being Micron RAM. So whether it is or not, I have no idea. Anyway, these were about £70 and 29 pence each, I think. Somewhere around that sort of mark. So massive thank you to Arali. That's super, super generous. I'm going to put the sticker back on. Probably ran the wrong way. But what does it matter? So yeah, bloody sticker. I don't think it's one of those newfangled thermal stickers that say it's a thermal sticker. So yeah, it says 3D NAND technology, which it kind of has to be. But yeah, it would appear from what it says on there that these are effectively Micron or Crucial. So this would be a kind of essentially the same as the Crucial P310, is it now? Yeah, I think the 310 is like the low cost PCI Express Gen 4x4. So yeah, effectively, happy days. Like that a lot. So thank you very much, Arali. Yes, 70 pence and a few pennies. And again, massive shout out to Arali.
Should we give
Let's give Arali a flash. She did it.
Oh, we got to turn these lights off.
That's all right, don't worry, leave it. It's fine. Oh, go on.
Don't get my eyes.
It's getting closer and closer to that time. The football, the fool's ball. I was tempted to stop the stream at 10 to watch the football, but I'm thinking there's going to be a lot of people who have got no interest in football whatsoever. And realistically, the first hour of the game is going to be like pretty uneventful anyway. So I think we should just plow on. What do you think? Let me know in the chat. Rasha says, got distracted there. What the hell is Mike drinking? Buckfast. No,
Fentanyl.
this is fentanyl. So Fentimans Curiosity Cola. It's a, I wouldn't say it's natural, but it's very botanically brewed. So it's botanically brewed cola drink with natural herbal extracts. Curiosity Cola. I bought it for Cap's birthday and she didn't like it, so I'm drinking it.
Yeah.
Yeah, fentanyl cola. There you are. Pass it over. I have almost killed it. If you leave it there, I'll drink the damn thing. Right. So that is things we've received this week. Also, I did get, thanks to our eBay Discord bot, links in the chat. I had a good deal on a motherboard. This one surprised me. Now, eBay is really good at the moment because if you use eBay, you get the buyer protection. So if it isn't as described, or it basically just doesn't work, you get your money back. Now, there is a slight delay from that, but yeah, quite often eBay will jump in and basically say, like, don't bother returning it, just dispose of it, and we'll give you the money. So the buyer is fine because the buyer still keeps their side of the exchange. You get to have your money back, and eBay pay the costs. It's pretty good. It looks like SAA 50 on that bottle. Yeah. Cool alternative to toilet cleaner cake. Yes. It's pretty good. They do a ginger beer one as well, which I'm looking forward to trying. Yeah, it's in the fridge. So, on the eBay Discord bot, I was notified or highlighted to a product. So this is, surprisingly, yet another MSI motherboard. This is the MSI B650 Tomahawk Wi-Fi, an absolute classic of a AM5 motherboard. One of the first of the B650 boards that came out, which were actually, weirdly, a little bit better in terms of VRM and power management than the X670 and X670E chipsets which came out before it, which was kind of bizarre. Actually, no, saying that, no, that was the AM4 range. AM4 was better. Sorry, ignore what I just said there. I'm confusing myself entirely. But this was on for around about £35, and it still had a few minutes to go. So I thought, well, I'll stick around and see what it goes for. Generally, these boards, if you're buying it brand spanking new, you're going to be looking at about £140 to £160, depending on where you're shopping here in the UK, which is still quite a lot of money for a B650 board, especially obviously when we look at the B850 we had earlier at like £110, which this is kind of, well, very, very similar in specs, realistically. If you benchmark the two next to each other, they would be essentially the same. Differences being here, I'm pretty sure that the M.2 on here is a Gen 4, and the PCI Express is Gen 4 as well. It's been a while, so don't necessarily quote me to that, but I'm pretty sure they're Gen 4 and Gen 4. Anyway, so this was on an auction listing, and it was basically you get what you see in the picture. So anti-static bag, the board, that's it. Fortunately, it's already got the IO shield firmly attached to it anyway, so that's fine. The pins were actually shown clearly, so they're all straight pins, which is great. I've actually taken the time to put a little bit of cardboard in there just to protect the pins in the meantime until I actually properly test it, just to see if it's going to be fine because I still haven't actually had the time yet to plug it in and make sure it works. eBay are pretty good. Give you a few days anyway to kind of work things out. This arrived, I think, on Wednesday or Thursday, so still early doors. Cheers, Semrab. Enjoy the match. NVIDIA Ali, etc., or whatever. Yeah. How signal getting worse by the beach due to pick kids up. So enjoy it. Yep, cool. See you later. Greg says eBay is a different animal here in Canada. Sorry to hear that. In England and also in Ireland, especially, eBay is really good. So some things which are missing, obviously the box. There's no box, no retail box, no M.2 screws, no SATA cables, Wi-Fi antenna. Those were not in the listing, so just basically the board only. It was listed as coming out of a working PC, and yeah, that is the key thing. So they've said it comes out of a working PC, so in theory, this board should work. So if for any reason it doesn't, eBay would step in and take care of things for you if the supplier won't. They had a bunch of boards, so I thought, well, they must have got a load of PCs and just stripped them down. So that made sense to me. Now it is missing the top M.2 cooler, which is a little bit of a shame because they're quite nice. But the Tomahawk was a weird board because you had an M.2 on the second one, but you didn't have one for the third one. So it's kind of missing one. Somebody's just scored. Yeah, because it's 4 minutes to go. I just heard loads and loads of cheering, so I don't know what that's about. Yeah, it really does. Sarah says, Sod footy might prefer proper sport. MotoGP lol. Good luck, England. Yeah, good luck, England. Hello, Romania. Or hello from Romania, says Dobry George. How you doing, Dobry George? Rody Bill says, I'm watching with a 23-minute delay, hence messaging will be off. No worries. Gotcha. Yeah, so it basically is what it is. So I'm under the assumption that it's going to work fine, but I don't know for sure. Now, the first thing to do when you get a board like this, especially if it doesn't come in the original box, is to have a look through and just give a visual just to go along the sides. I have noticed there is a little bit of a curvature to the board. I'm not sure if you can see it on that side more so actually. I'm almost 100% sure that it came in a box, really well packaged in bubble wrap, but it was kind of like that, an angle on the box with like the box being there and there. So I'm pretty confident that this has warped a little bit in the post because of it being exceptionally warm, or just because the angle is on for a elongated period. So it has definitely got a, you can see there's a bit of a curve to it there. That shouldn't cause any problems, and when it's mounted in a board, in a case, that will naturally kind of bend back into shape anyway. So I'm not particularly concerned about that. What I am concerned about sometimes is if you look along the pins, just to make sure they're all okay. The USB 3.0 Type A port, always worth taking a look in there, making sure all the pins are straight. There's nothing bad going on there. I have noticed actually this port here, the PWM, one of those pins is a little bit on the bent side, so we can actually do that now. Let's get a screwdriver. Banana board, yeah. I watch your videos with such a pleasure. Thank you for making them. Thank you, Bilbury. That's very nice of you to say so. It's good to be appreciated. Thank you. So that pin is a little bit pissed, so I was going to give that a little nudge, and that's fine. Again, things like PWM headers, realistically, even if they do go bad or they're bent off completely, it's actually really easy. There's only 3 or 4 solder points there. Desolder them and they come out pretty easy. Physical damage on PWM ports is quite easy to deal with. When it comes to burnt out headers, that is a big of a problem because you have to change the chips, etc. Not always easy to do. But like I said, just go around the board, just have a quick kind of gander, make sure that the pins are all pretty straight, and to be fair, this looks like it's in pretty decent shape. So with that said, I think it is a very good time to actually give this a little bit of a fire up and see if it actually does work. Because if it doesn't, then I'm going to be slightly upset. Won't be the end of the world because we can send it back, but I think it'd be nice just to see it working. Greg, in the UK on eBay purchase, do you have to pay for all taxes on purchase like we do here in Canada? In the UK, when you make a purchase, the taxes are kind of built into the prices anyway, but it depends on kind of, in terms of eBay, buying on eBay is effectively the same as walking into a local store and just buying something off the shelf. So you don't pay any kind of sales taxes. If there's any VAT or taxes on it, it's kind of it's in the price anyway, so you don't notice it. You pay taxes such as fees. So if you're a seller, you pay a fee, but if you're a buyer, you don't pay any fees. So like if you're a seller, you have a listing fee and a final price fee. Sometimes those are waived depending if there's special offers. But yeah, you don't put any kind of taxes on them, but you kind of, the taxes are incorporated into all sales anyway, really. Having said that, if it's someone like an individual selling on eBay, they're like old stuff they don't want anymore, there's not really taxes on it because you're allowed, there's a threshold in the UK of up to £1,000. So you can sell up to £1,000 worth of your old unused items before the taxman wants to be interested at all. Realistically, no one really adheres to that. There's people that sell PCs day after day, month after month, which clearly aren't just old stock. They're doing it as a trade. So, but rarely do they actually get any kind of comeback on it. Hello, Sevenlidge. How you doing? If you type, I've got a new PC and I could use the. I've got a new PC and I could use the keyboard, but it doesn't do anything. If I type Y, it doesn't. I need help. You're probably best off going over to our Discord at the moment. I would initially say the best thing to do is plug your keyboard into a different USB port. If you're getting to a point where it's a new PC, just fire it up. Make sure that the number lock light works, or the lighting on the keyboard itself, if it's an RGB one. If it's not lighting up and the num lock isn't reactive, then you've got an electrical problem. If it's coming up on the saying like there's your TPM or secure boot is being reset, press Y or N. Quite often that doesn't respond the first time anyway, but if it doesn't, plug it into a USB 2.0 port if you've got one on the back of the system, rather than a USB 3.0, because sometimes those don't always get initialized straight away, depending on how the BIOS is set up. But Discord links there, you can chat with someone in there. Dak Rolter. Where's Dak Rolter? Dak Rolter. Oh, Alpha Indigo. I changed my name as Mike could not pronounce your one. Nice one, Dak. I just got it. Alpha Indigo has changed his name because I couldn't say it. Now I can. Brasher says only 58 watching now. The match has started. The diehard Mub fans are still here. Yes. Welcome to Mub Central. Right. Let me get a power supply and we'll see if this thing actually works. It's starting to cool down a bit here now, so I'm not dying as much now. Sorry for that. All my fentanyl's kicked in. I can't feel a thing. Get me little mini power supply on the go. So what we're going to need here, we will need the CPU one. We'll need the 12-pin ATX, that should be fine. And of course we'll need a power supply. I love this little power supply. This power supply has done a lot of work for me over the years on BIOS updates and test videos. It's a Thermalright Tough Power SFX 1000 watt. It's a bizarre power supply. It's really expensive. These things are about like 170 quid, I think, for like a 80 plus gold rated 1000 watt. But it's so small and so cute and fully modular. I love this thing. I was always waiting for Thermalright to send me one of their TR100 cases, the little small form factor boxes. So I really wanted to do a build in one and have it as like a daily driver almost, because of how small and cute they are. But yeah, it wasn't to be. The PC market now, in terms of getting sent review samples, is a very, very different beast than what it was. And unfortunately, Thermaltake in the UK, their sales rep, their original one, basically, I shouldn't really say, but basically they resigned or took some time out, and someone else took over, and that was only for like 2 months or something. And in that 2 months, we heard basically nothing from them. We had one case, the retro case that we had on a few weeks back, and that's kind of all we've had in terms of communication from them. So yeah, it's all looking a little bit murky. Yes, Gaff. Hey, Wayne Taylor. Wayne Taylor. Hi, Mike and Gaff. How's your idea of a heat wave going? It's okay. It's getting better now. We're on the downward slope, so it's all good.
Say hello.
Des, hey Des, says I'm watching you in the match. Good for you. Let us know the score. I don't think anyone will particularly mind if there's spoilers, so please feel free to post scores if they have them. If anybody doesn't want to see the scores, say so in the chat now. Not that it really matters, because clearly FIFA will do whatever they like to make whoever they want to win. Does any? I think people are more believing in the government now than FIFA. Slightly political.
Got so mad about 4 years ago when I said that.
What, the football was fixed?
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's blatant now. It wasn't. You never watched it. So how could you say it's blatant? Right. I need some RAM. I need a processor. So let's see what we got. Sure, I got something up here. Oh no, that's an empty carton. That's not much use. What have we got here? Ryzen 7700. That should be fine, because this board actually came out and the 7700 was basically supported from the day one release. So this should be fine. So I'll put a little square of cardboard. I would suggest, actually, to all people, if you're... I'm not sure. Was there a question as well? Yeah. All right. Quickly before I answer that, I would suggest, if you are selling a motherboard, especially one which has LGA pins on the board, get a small piece of cardboard, just cut it out. Just needs to be the same size as the retention section there, and just put it over the pins. That way, when you sell it, like, you're protecting the pins reasonably well, and yeah, it just makes sense to do it, because if it gets damaged in postage, it's a lot of money to scrap a board for the sake of what is like a relatively easy thing to do. Bob from Wick, how you doing, Bob? A lot of footballers need acting awards. Better dive in than Superman. Oh dear. Fits nicely. Ooh. A little bit of thermal paste stuff on that CPU. Didn't clean it up very well last time. Who was it? Kossian. What time was it? Sorry. 10:04. Question from Kossian, which I have not addressed yet. Ah, Kossian. Okay. Hi. Is 850 watt gold PSU? Is that on the screen? Yeah. Actually, I can get rid of that, can't I? Is an 850 watt gold PSU enough for a 9800X3D and a 5070 Ti? Yeah, you should be all right with that, I think. I can't think off the top of my head what a 5070 Ti power draw is. I think it's less than 300 watts. And the 5800X3D is going to be what? 160-ish, maybe? Yeah, you should be fine with 850. I don't see a problem with that at all. Obviously, depends on the other things you've got in your system, but yeah, you should be fine with 850 gold. Des says, we'll do if it's okay with everyone. Thank you. Dave Underhill says, to Corsian, yes, 850 is okay. My PC has 9800X3D 9060 XT 16 gig and it uses 600 watt at full load. 600 watts at full load, even with that. I would have thought it would have been a bit lower than that, but I suppose, yeah. Sure. Wayne Taylor says, lol, do you realise us Aussies laugh at your temps? Heat wave here is 4 days over 40, which is regular and similar in Western Australia. Yeah, the thing is, Wayne, it is.
Does he have it like half the temperature?
Yeah,
for every 2 weeks.
we have a thing here in the UK where our average daily temperature is somewhere between sort of 10 and 16 degrees Celsius. So that's like normal for us here most days throughout the year. So when it suddenly goes to extremes such as 30 plus, like we're just not cut out for it. And the thing is, like, especially in places like America and Australia, like air conditioning in your homes is something which you've always had or almost always had. Also, I would dare say in a lot of places in Australia and the States as well, you're not particularly kind of crammed in. Whereas here in Bristol and also in places like London, etc., it's pretty hemmed in. Like there's a lot of houses, there's a lot of thermal mass and not a lot of breeze because we're 25 miles away from the sea. So we don't get a great deal of breeze. So those jumps, and combine that with the humidity and lack of air, it does get very stifling. And there's a lot of people that actually come over from the States to visit the UK when we've got our hotter days, and they just can't cope. They're like, how do you live like this? Because it's a very weird type of heat.
And it switches so quickly.
Yeah. And like the next day, it can be back to like 10, 15 degrees again. It's insanely weird, our climate.
At least this time around, we've had a chance to climatise, so it's not been too bad, has it?
Yeah.
David,
Dutch Jan says, in the 80s, we called this a hot summer. Yeah, it is just a hot summer, isn't it? David Underhill says, why do English not believe in Noah's Ark? 40 days and 40 nights of rain is a bloody drought in England. Yeah.
goes by ban as soon as they have 2 days of
Yeah.
sun.
Greg says, here the normal temps are 25C during summer. Tomorrow feels like 46. Yeah, that's pretty. That is a pretty big jump in it. But then it does happen. It's like I think back in the summer of 76, I think is one which a lot of our kind of parents talk about. Summer of 76 was basically kind of like it is now, if not hotter, and it lasted for I think 3 or 4 weeks. So yeah, it happens.
Very soon because of summer holidays.
Ours will be over by Monday because that's when the summer holidays start for some people. So as soon as the summer holidays start, the weather starts sucking. Right, I need some. I was just looking at this saying, why have I not got another set of RAM? Well, I think I know why. Because it's in another. Oh, little heads up: the PC that I built in last week's stream, I listed it on Facebook Marketplace for £1,200, and I did put in there saying to people like, I don't want any silly offers. So if you do, just basically don't bother. And I actually the same day or next day I had an offer for £1,100, but it was from someone on eBay on Facebook Marketplace, which basically had no real profile on there. And it's like, I don't know. And I said, look, I've only just listed it for £1,200. I'm kind of interested in your offer, but it's early doors yet. They're like, fine, let me know, like if you're interested. I was like, I should have just taken it, but I have got a plan now with the PC. I was going to do it in this week's stream, but because of family commitments, I haven't had time to set it up. But what I was going to do, the PC that we put together in the previous stream with the Intel graphics, the Gigabyte board, etc., and the thermal take cooler, I've got an MSI board now, this one. So if it works, I'm going to put the MSI board. I've also got the MSI P13 AIO, and I've also got an MSI 5060 Ti, which is in there. So that together as a package, I think is going to be far nicer than a Gigabyte board, a Thermalright cooler, and a Intel Arc B580 graphics card. And I think if I stick to my original £1,200, I think that's going to be a lot more achievable with a 5060 Ti, because that'll just pull customers in. And the fact that it's all going to be on the MSI ecosystem, with all the RGB controlled in MSI Center, the screen on the AIO controlled in MSI Center, I think it's just going to be a nicer overall look. So that is potentially, if it doesn't sell this week, that's what I'll be doing in next week's stream. So just a heads up. Right, I need some sort of cooling mechanism for this CPU. I've got a few to choose from now, but I think I'll go with the classic low profile from Thermalright. Thermalright are just killing it, aren't they, with thermal solutions for PCs. So inexpensive. They work really well. It's just a great time all round, isn't it? And I don't really even think I need to put... Do I need to put the mounting kit on? Actually, yeah, it hasn't got any of the standoffs as well. I should have noted that, actually. It doesn't come with any standoffs. Dutch Jan says the Intel Arc doesn't sell. No, you're absolutely right. The Intel Arc, I do feel in my heart of hearts, as much as I wanted to support Intel, I do feel that that was a mistake to buy that card. And I said the same when I bought the A380 or whatever it was. What was the other one? The A5? No, the A... I can't remember what the one was. A570 was it? I could have swore I heard more bits than that fall on the floor. Oh well. Let's just wing it. Right. These fitting kits are generally semi-universal, so I don't think I can screw this up too badly. Ah. Oh, there it is. So let's give you a top-down shot. So you can see, yeah, there you go. You can see that now. So with the Thermalright, it's always the same deal. So AM4 or AM5, it's going to be the pink standoffs. And then the horseshoe kind of bracket, or slightly concave or concave brackets go on the top, like so. And then you've got these 4 screws, which then go down into the back plate, whether it be AM4 or AM5. David Thompson says it rained here today, which was nice. David Thompson, where are you? You are in Newcastle. Oh, yeah. You're somewhere in Newcastle way? Dak says ARC GPUs have been discontinued. Lead Farmer says just finished a stream with friend, reset a Lenovo password. Couldn't do second. Is this the SL100? Yes, I believe it is, yeah. This is the classic SL100 or SI. Is it SL or SL? I think it's the SI100. Big Battle Mage now, only AI and ARC is exclusive. Panther Lake. Yeah, it's a very, very strange situation that we've got ourselves into with Intel. To be fair though, that Intel Arc B580 as a general purpose gaming and video editing card, it absolutely crushes it. It does run very, very well. Arguably, it runs a little bit on the warmer side, which I would have liked it to run cooler. But, yeah, not bad. Not bad at all. But it's not an out-and-out gaming card. That'll do. I need a tiny little bit of thermal paste on there, just to get us started, or at least hopefully get us started. ARC were really good. They were getting there, then cancelled. I think what they'll do is they won't cancel it kind of outright, but it'll definitely be on the back burner. Because the thing is, they put too much time and effort into it, and they'll still be using it in their mobile chipset and integrated. Although saying that, they have just signed that deal with NVIDIA, haven't they? So maybe it's NVIDIA's way of saying, well, actually, no, we don't want to do that anymore, because if you want to use graphics, you can use ours, because you essentially have access to the IP now. So that would make quite a lot of sense. As much as I would dislike seeing more NVIDIA market share being swallowed. It's going on good. Intel and AMD GPUs, most people don't realize how good they are. Too many automatically grab overpriced NVIDIA GPUs. Yeah, and it used to always be because NVIDIA graphics drivers were pretty darn good, but I think we've seen recently that even the mighty can fail quite heavy, quite hard. Having said that, being that I don't play many games and I just use my PC for mostly just working, like video editing and stuff like that, I'll be honest, I've not had any real problems. I've had more issues with AMD than I have with Intel or NVIDIA for that matter. I would argue AMD drivers are possibly the worst by quite a margin. Always seeming to get driver timeouts, especially in Premiere. I know Adobe Premiere is always supposed to be shit with AMD. But weirdly, AMD are always making a big thing about how they're working hand in hand with Adobe. But I think Adobe don't really like them hanging around. They're like a bad smell. They just want to use the CUDA. Right, what do I need next? Did any of you hear Kath say that then? John says, I've never had GPU issues specific to a brand. No, I've had issues with all brands, to be fair. David Thompson says, England nil, Norway nil. Still 0-0. Are we at the first hydration break?
Drink.
The advert break. Don't peek. Says, are you making a test bench? Yeah, it's that sort of thing. I just want to see if this motherboard actually works. I'm trying to think now, how do I... What do I actually need to see? I don't really need to see much, actually, so I will just plug a HDMI in, I think, and that'll be more than enough. I can plumb the HDMI signal through into my Elgato, and that should be fine. Just want to see if it has a display. I suppose really I should check the BIOS battery, but I'm not particularly bothered about that, really. Luckily, this GPU or CPU has an APU, so it should be fine. So let's see, which one of my fabulous outputs do I want to be on, so we can see what this is doing. Let's try HDMI input. That'll do. Oh, there's a breeze coming through the window. That feels so nice. Okay. Turn on the power supply. Might have been on already. And we'll just jump start the board. Oh. So let's see if anything comes up. Diagnostic DLEDs, we've got the amber and the red so far. So that's memory training. Let's move past that. Oh, the lights have gone out. That's a bad sign.
You don't hear no noise. But they hear the bang.
Oh, we're stuck on DRAM again. That's not good. Why are we stuck on DRAM? Is it rebooting again? I get nervous when it does reboots. Yay! Oh, it's gone. I saw it for a second. It's gone again. Hey, there we go. We have a BIOS. So, CPU core temperature, 43 degrees. That's fine. It's dropping a little bit, so that's good. Considering it's like 36 degrees in here or something stupid, that's fine. What do we got? So, BIOS version is from 2025. Oh, almost exactly a year old. Over a year old, 24th of the 6th. So a year and what, 3 weeks, 2 weeks. So the BIOS definitely needs updating, but it appears to work, which is the key thing. But bizarrely, the date's right and the time is right as well. So maybe it was taken out of a working machine relatively recently, I guess. But anyway, that is freaking awesome. We have life. I didn't tell you how much I paid for this, did I? It was actually very good value. So normally if you're buying these used in various states of disrepair, either missing boxes, etc., look at about £100 normally, which I'm normally quite happy to pay. I was lucky with this one. I put in a bid, I think of £67 is the maximum, and it was like £3 for postage. So all in, I got this board for about £70, which actually makes it a very good value for money boards. B650, a Tomahawk board as well, which the thing is, the Tomahawk brand is always sold really well. Like, even though it is essentially a budget board, people always like the Tomahawk branding because of how well the B450 Tomahawk was and some of the Tomahawks before it. But the B450, I think, really cemented MSI Tomahawk brand as being like a really awesome bit of kit. Probably mostly down to people like Gamers Nexus and Hardware Unboxed. Those two probably are the ones which promoted the Tomahawk range more than kind of almost anyone else. It was kind of like the go-to board. So yeah, that is fantastic that it works. Greg says, wow, I just realized it has been a year since I built this AM4 system with this MSI motherboard, alas. Time goes by very quickly. Dax says I have the B450 Tomahawk Max. I've actually got a I got that. Oh, I got a B450A Pro Max Micro ATX. I don't know what I'm going to ever do with that. I bought it and it's like, yeah, I'm going to put that into a Micro X PC. And it just never happened. Dutch Jan says I have B550 Tomahawk Max Wi-Fi. Yeah, I think that's most people, if you're a reasonably kind of constant PC builder or enthusiast, there's probably a strong chance that you've had a Tomahawk board at some point or other, because they do just, yeah, really well in most reviews. David Underhill says I have the B850 Edge TI Wi-Fi, which is the B850 Tomahawk Wi-Fi in white. Yeah, that was, I don't know why they do that with the Edge Wi-Fi. Why do they call the Edge Wi-Fi the Edge Wi-Fi when it's basically the white Tomahawk? They could have just called it the Tomahawk, and no one would be any the wiser. It's very strange. But weirdly, for the Intel board, the Intel Z890 Edge TI Wi-Fi, actually no, that is the same as the Tomahawk Wi-Fi. No, it's a weapon. Tomahawk is like a axe. Yeah. Things making rather uncomfortable noises. And it's from AliExpress. They want me to buy things. Stop making me buy things, you bastards. Fantastic. Right, so that is great. This board works. So potentially, actually, I'm wondering, do I put one of those M.2 drives in and give it a quick bench? But I don't think I've got everything set up to do that. That should be awesome. Oh, free quick, yeah. I could do with some sugary goodness. Which ones don't you like? Don't like any of them? Some licorice all sort. I like those ones. They're cool. And those ones are awesome.
Oh,
You want it?
am.
Do you like them?
Yeah.
Lead Farmer says I have to put a belt in the washer. Fun herb. Ashley Strachan. Hey all. Sorry so late. Was playing darts and drinking. Oh, drinking Prosecco? Oh my god. Your head in the morning is going to be like a football. Prosecco is the devil's juice. I don't know how people drink that. Right, that's done. That worked, so I'm happy. Clicked off, good. David says I sold my B550 Tomahawk for more than I bought it for. Why is that not wanting to come out? Come on, don't be. I'm being very weak. It's funny now, isn't it? This stick of RAM, just this single stick of RAM here, is now worth more than the CPU in this system. It's insane. Yeah, nice. The memory pricing, I know, like it's a thing most of us know about it, and it's like, well, there's not a great deal you can do about it. You just got to live with it. But I still think it's just insanity how much RAM is selling for. I know 100% for a fact, if it comes down to it, and I can't get hold of any sort of reasonably priced secondhand RAM, I just won't bother. I am not going to pay the full prices for RAM at the moment. And SSDs, possibly not either. Unless it's a build for somebody and they say, right, I want this, this, and this, and I don't mind paying the premium. Of course, I will advise them against paying the premium. I think at the moment, as long as you're using a sensible backup routine, which really you should do if you value your data, as long as you're using a pretty decent or comprehensive backup schedule or system, then using used drives isn't terrible. And in the current economy, you can save yourself a considerable amount of money. I've got considerably more than a yow, as they'd say. Mr. Moneybags. Yeah, it's just the pricing of drives and RAM. And the reality is, if we don't pay it, well, in theory, if we don't pay it, they should reduce prices. But because there is an alleged scarcity of the RAM, then that isn't always going to happen. And potentially you may end up just having the RAM be sold to AI centers and bots and things. So it's, yeah, it's not ideal, is it? I honestly don't know what's going to happen in the industry. There's a super chat from our pal Rasher. Thank you, Rasher, for your kind €20 donation. Much appreciated. What's going on? My wife has been in a coma for the last 3 weeks. Today, the doctor told me the bad news. It looks like I'm going to have to go to the charity shops and get all her clothes back. Oh dear, that's terrible.
I've seen that on this week.
David Underhill says my DDR5 RAM would cost 4,000 Aussie dollars to replace, and I only paid 1,100 Aussie dollars last November. It's just incredible, isn't it? It is absolutely insane. David Thompson says light drizzle outside now. Really, really. Yeah, I don't know if we're going to need to. I think it's going to rain. I am very confident it's going to rain. But yeah, RAM and M.2 pricing, storage pricing in general, it's just nuts. And it can be sustainable. It really can. But how long now are we into this? Because they said, they being the media and also the companies, they were saying that the shortage would be realistically 2 years, is what they could foresee, that there would be a 2-year sort of dip in supply, and with the prices as they are. Now, we are in, arguably that started in kind of November, December of 2025. And we're now getting towards the middle of July 2026. So we are arguably 7, 8 months into this now. So if you're looking at it from a positive side, you could say, well, there's only another, what, 14 months. Give it 5 years, yeah. I'm saying, like, 5 years in computing is an eternity. That's like 2 generations, if not more. So that is like a lot. And the thing is, it really makes my head hurt thinking about, like, realistically, most of the brands that we know and like using and enjoy buying rely on PCs being built and sold and that whole kind of turnover. If people are going to stop building PCs, which realistically they're going to have to, because the prices are just completely insane, I can see a lot of those companies being forced to either completely diversify into other products, or they will end up just not existing. Now, at the moment, a lot of them are still running on lifelines, but I think it's only going to be a matter of time, maybe 2 or 3 months, maybe 4 months, until we start seeing some big names hit the floor. And there's some that are going to really struggle, like companies like Corsair. What are Corsair going to do? Like, what pies have Corsair got their fingers into that can actually help them get through this? Because they've pretty much doubled down on the case, peripheral, Elgato, the streaming side of things, cases, lighting, IQ, etc. But they're not really known for being involved in other business ventures, which means they stand to lose like quite a lot if they've not got any other irons in the fire. So yeah, I don't know, it just blows my mind to think of how different things are going to look in a short time, or potentially a short time. Because clearly as well, if there's a lot of companies which invest or have investors or borrow money to stay afloat to try and ride the storm out, that's a lot of money tied up in companies which potentially might never recover, which is really sad to think of it like that. But it is a potential that it will, like, if we do go into that kind of whole 5-year thing, oh god, I just noticed in the chat, yep, Norway won. Oh dear. We're going home. No, we're not. It's going to be fine. We'll pull back. It's luring them into a false sense of security. But yeah, I honestly don't know where this whole hobby and thing is. How's it going to end? Where are things going to go? Why does that not want to come out there? Ashley saying, what's that? As are all our PC windows. PC widows, sorry. We are PC widows. Greg says, I have the same feeling after I see Gamers Nexus video on the amount of revenue loss that some of them experienced. Yeah, it's going to be insane. Like we saw, there will be some fire sales. So some companies will get desperate and they will start flogging stuff extremely cheaply. Why is that not wanting to come out of there? Have I fused this to my motherboard? I hate to see that being a thing.
The man going to buy a graphics card and I can get it out.
Why is that? Why did that not come out? Please, God's sake. I think the heat has got to the connector. Ah, there we go. Maybe I'm getting weak with the heat. David Thompson says, "Meh, I don't care if Argentina win the cup. We beat them when it mattered, 1982. Wiggle it just a little bit. I did. And it worked. Right, I can unplug that now. So that is great news. The board works for £70 for a B650 Tomahawk. That is awesome. Like, you can't buy AM4 boards for that cheap now. AM4 board prices have gone through the ceiling. Unsurprisingly, because of what is happening in the global economy, but again, DDR4. How much DDR4 is there actually out there in the market to sustain the prices for the older platforms? It can't last. It really can't. Let's get that packed away. I've still got Tim's Z790 motherboard, the Gaming Plus Wi-Fi, from the repair video we did a couple of weeks back. And I need to speak to Lead Farmer actually about this. We did have a brief question or like discussion about it, where he thinks that it may be one of the voltages or one of the something to do with the power lines on the board that may have been fried by that power supply that was in it, rather than being like just a corrupted BIOS. Because I am quite tempted to try and get one of those kits to try and reflash the BIOS onto it to see if we can resurrect that board. Not that it's going to be particularly useful board because it's DDR5 and it's an Intel 12th, 13th and 14th gen, which isn't everyone's cup of tea, to be fair. But if it's not too expensive to get the flash kit and it's relatively easy to do, then I wouldn't mind having a go at it. And potentially that some of you might find that useful or interesting to watch as a video, which ultimately is what this channel is supposed to be about. Getting some information, having a bit of fun, learning some stuff, and potentially making a few mistakes along the way. But hey, that's part of fun in my opinion. Arali says, I can't get anything cheap, even 12-inch fans to keep me cool. Yeah, remember those 12-inch fans, like desk fans, used to be like $9.99. And now I think they're like, well, I'm not even going to contemplate how expensive they are now. They're probably like 40 quid or something stupid. Yeah, next week they'll all be on sale because nobody will need them. They'll be yesterday's chip paper again. Yeah. DDR4 stopped production over a year ago. I'm pretty sure that I have read and heard from some places that that is a lot of those places are starting to come back online. Whether that is true or not, I honestly couldn't tell you. But it would make sense in the current economic climate. And CPU away. Come on, CPUs, don't fall on me. There's good. Unplug that. 30 quid for a 12-inch fan. David Thompson's got his 16-incher on that now. What fan was that? Oh, yeah, that's a little 12-inch one, wasn't it? Yeah, larger fans are quite rare now. I'm quite lucky actually, because when we worked at the BBC, they used to buy fans for props for some reason. Like, why would you ever have a fan? You can't use fans in TV because of the noise, but they used to buy them for props. And we used to have like stacks of them. And almost every episode, the buyer would go out and buy a new desk fan for some reason, not for even to be used on set generally, because you're not allowed to. And yeah, it was very, very strange. Logan says, on who? Did I say casualty? Oh, okay, yeah. Yeah, so basically, yeah, you get they'd buy those fans in, and they got to a point where they'd buy some cheap ones from, like, there was a local place called Rajanis, and they had a place very similar to it in Cardiff as well. And they'd buy these cheap desk fans, and they would never pass the electrical test in, so they couldn't use them anyway, even if they wanted to. So they just chuck them out in the skip. So I just go in the skip and I grab it, stick it in the boot of my car, and I will recycle the granny out of that. And I did. And I do, yeah. I had a really nice one with, like, the metal blades, really kind of old-fashioned looking one. And that one I think it did actually, yeah. I've got one previous to that as well from Casualty, and all it needed was just a new cable, because the previous one, even though it was a metal frame, it was like a plastic metal frame, but it didn't have earth on it. So I just took it all apart, put a new 3-core cable in it, earthed it, and it's fine. And yeah, it's been great.
On Discord.
Have you got a picture of me in the skip? Yeah, feel free. Oh, you are. You are. Someone's getting upset with me on you. I love the YouTube comments. You guys are great, and we get some really interesting ones. So here's one from somebody called Zemikyle. And this is on the ARGB PWM fan setup guide with Corsair Frame 4000D RS ARGB with the RS120 fans. And his comment was, unless you are 12 years of age, why would you want your PC to light up like a Christmas tree? Yeah, it's each to their own, I suppose. Let's reply to that, because that's quite amusing. But why do people say that? Like, I don't care. It is a personal preference and a lot of people like it. That is why they still make it. There we go. Answered. Arali says, my mistake. Oh, what was that? Arali saying? There's some new DDR4 RAM available on Amazon by unknown brand, priced at 300 for 32 gigs. My mistake. Oh yeah, there's a picture of me diving in the skip. Calf's putting a picture of me skip diving in the Discord if you want to check it out. That sounds like a goal. The crowd goes wild. David Thompson says, my ex-wife is a PAT tester. PAT tester is always a funny thing, because PAT stands for Portable Appliance Tester. So you can't really be a PAT tester. So it should be someone who tests the tester. But it should be a PA tester. But for some reason, it's always caught on in the UK as being a PAT tester. You should post that as well. So Riley said, my mistake, £200, Gigastone Game Pro DDR4. That still seems like really expensive though. 200 quid for DDR4. Like, what were we paying not that long ago? 40 quid for 16 gigs. Maybe 50 quid if you, like, your second hand used for about 60 to 70 new. So that's triple the price. Madness. David Under says, weird UK versus Australia electrical rules. UK allows you to fit plugs. Australia requires an electrician to do it. Bob from Wick says, same as pin number. I don't understand, Bob. Oh, what, 11? 0101. David Under says, our ARGB fans are great. They are. Speaking of which, actually, oh, yeah, pin number, get here. Pin number, personal identification number, yeah. Where are we? Lian Li. Oh. So for those of you that haven't seen the videos already and you like RGB, Lian Li got these fans out, coming out this week. These are nuts. They are basically wireless fans, but they're not wireless. So they've renamed them now Flex. So flexible as in you can use them wirelessly, you can use just the PWM, you can use just the ARGB, use USB, etc, etc. There's loads of different options, but yeah, these are, I think, possibly some of the smartest fans I've ever seen. And also they've got multiple locations of where you can actually control the light in. So traditionally on a fan, like 2-1, it's not come up in the chat yet, but that's 2-1. Offside? Oh, what? Yeah, I thought it went quite quickly. So these, you've got ARGB around the blades, which is normal. You've also got these side slits there and there. And you've got the infinity mirror on the side. So the side slit and the infinity mirror can all be the same. But actually inside the infinity mirror, in the middle of it, there's another section in which you can control. So you can have like the blades white, the slit red, and the outside edge red, and then the inner slot you could have blue. So if you want to do like a UK theme, or France, I guess it would be as well, red, white and blue, or America for that, you can do that as well. So yeah, you can have a slit in there of red, have white around the outside edge, and have the blades blue or something. So yeah, loads of different options for setting up colors. It's just very, very strange. And actually, this is also something which someone got me on this week. I think it might have been Brody Bill, in the comment section on one of the videos. Is saying they don't look like 120mm fans. They are closer to 110. And I guess I'm not sure it's entirely obvious to everybody, but when they are called 120mm fans, they're not referring to the blades. Like sometimes the blades can be 118mm, but the actual frame is what denotes the size. So it's 120mm from that edge to that edge, or that edge to that edge. That's your 120 by 120, and then like the side is like 25 or 28 or 30 or 40 or whatever it is for thicker fans. I think these are right. So yeah, the blades themselves are never used as a kind of a metric for the standard size. I'm trying to think of another analogy where that is the same. Possibly like wheels on cars. Like an 18-inch wheel isn't actually 18 inches, but it's just called 18 inches because it is. They might actually be 18 inches, but I don't think they are. I think they measure slightly differently. So if you actually measure the tire itself, it's smaller than 18 inches. But because the outside edge of the tire is 18 inches, people kind of know what that means. And like if you're putting this into a case, you know this 120 is going to fit in a 120 space, or a 140 is going to fit into a 140 space. If they started measuring them by the actual blade diameter, it would get really confusing because people are like, well, I want to use these in my case, but the fans are like 115mm, but I've only got a 120mm slot. So it would get really confusing. So anyway, hopefully you stop talking about filling my slots. Go England. They scored. David Norris says like 3-litre engines, rarely exactly 300 cc's. Yeah, that's true actually. Yeah, that's very common. Like a 1.6 BMW engine is probably going to be like 1597 or something along those lines. So yeah, it's just a kind of a universal kind of a known thing. Speaking of universal thing, this is the Lian Li controller. So previously, back in the day, if you had Lian Li fans, you'd have like a big black plastic controller which fitted in the back of your case and all your fans plugged into it, and it'd be like a rat's nest of wires going everywhere. This simplifies it. Simple USB port. They've reduced the size as well now, so it fits in without actually disrupting other ports nearby. And this can control up to 30 fans, if maybe slightly more, depending on how you work it. But this is a 10-channel receiver or unit, and each block of fans is a channel, effectively. So you can have like 10 lots of 3 fans if you wanted to, connected together. So it's pretty insane. I will do a demonstration of it at some point. That is the SATA adapter. So if you just want to use SATA power to power them, you don't want to do ARGB, you don't want to do PWM wiring, you want your motherboard and your PC to be super clean, you can just power it by that, just using SATA power, straight from your power supply. In fact, you could actually run these without even having a computer, which is a bit mind-blowing. So you could put this USB adapter in another PC somewhere in the house and have your fans like on your desk or in a laptop enclosure or something. It's pretty mad. And it works really well. Hey, Oats. Hey, Gramp. Half time. Otis got a girlfriend because he keeps on going out. He's getting a bit pale as well, isn't he? I thought as people started cheering then, there's a bloody motorbike doing 100 million miles an hour.
Stopping suddenly.
Mark Gaines got a question for us. Question, Mike, what is Microsoft Cloud Rebuild and how does it work? Right, Cloud Rebuild, I would strongly suggest against never using, because it's... I honestly can't think of a situation where it actually makes sense to use it, other than possibly if you're selling a PC, but even then, it's not as good as doing a fresh install. So Cloud, what do they call it? What's the exact terminology? Cloud Rebuild. Okay, so Cloud Rebuild, if you've got to a stage with your computer where you've either had a virus or a bad driver or some sort of disk corruption on your system, and you want to reinstall Windows, essentially a fresh version of Windows, but not entirely fresh, I don't think, you can use the cloud recovery. So normally what we would do is we would get a USB stick, you'd head over to the Windows Media Center, Windows 11 Media Creation Tool. Wow, that was right in the back of my brain there. I had to really drag that out. The Media Creation Tool, you download that, you'd run it on your PC, you'd stick a USB in your computer, you'd let it write to the USB, you'd take that USB to your poorly computer, and then you'd either reinstall fresh Windows or you'd use recovery console, etc., to try and make Windows better again. So essentially what the new Cloud Rebuild will do is, if your PC is in a state where you can boot to the recovery console or safe mode, but it won't load into Windows, you can actually go into the Cloud Rebuild. It will download the very latest version of Windows 11, and then it will proceed to do a fresh installation. How fresh that installation is, I do not know, but it will erase your personal files. It will erase your personal data. You will need to reinstall applications. You will need to potentially reactivate Windows. So yeah, I think it helps some people, but the only people that really it would help are those that don't have either access to another computer or a USB drive, which I guess there are going to be some people who sit in that camp. Most households these days, I would argue, have more than one computer, or potentially have a laptop, or have access to another computer or a laptop. So I don't know if it's a big enough problem to warrant having it, but having said that, it is another arsenal that we have to resurrect a PC if you don't have a USB drive. Now, I have had it before where we've been on Discord, someone's had a problem with their PC, and we've said to them, you just need to get a Windows disk and reboot, reinstall Windows. That's probably the best thing to do. And they're like, I haven't got a USB drive. I'll have to order one and I'll do it tomorrow. So there are going to be those people, but it's kind of rare cases that happens. Quite often it's going to be someone who has potentially never owned a PC. It's their first ever PC, and it's either come with like Windows pre-installed and they've wrecked it somehow, or they just want to wipe it, or they've installed drivers or spyware or malware or something, so they just kind of want to start again. And they may not have a USB drive because it's their first PC, so they haven't built up all that kind of stock that we generally do as you use a computer and years roll on. You have these things, don't you? You have like your SD cards, your card readers, USB sticks, extra USB cables, all that kind of stuff. If it's your first PC, maybe you won't have that sort of stuff. So I can pretty much understand where that's come from and why it would be useful. But I also think in the hands of someone who is inexperienced, which is who it's almost aimed at, doing a cloud rebuild could potentially cause them more grief because of having to then reinstall programs, get hold of programs again, which maybe they haven't got. So it's not a great solution. It's handy, but it's not great. But we'll see. There may come a time where it's actually useful. I guess, again, if you're a PC technician, if you're out at a customer's and for some reason you just don't have a spare USB drive on you, if you don't, obviously what sort of technician are you, but if you don't have one, then I guess it's quite handy to be able to do that and say to the customer, look, there's so much wrong with this computer, let's just do a rebuild of it and see what happens, and we'll test it with a fresh Windows, see if the problems still happen. There is also, I believe, with the cloud rebuild, it will also check the Windows update servers for device drivers. But that is only going to be as good as the Windows update servers. As some of you probably know already, if you do a fresh installation of Windows on some certain motherboards, quite often you still don't have the drivers for possibly Wi-Fi adapters, 5 gig and 10 gig network adapters possibly, some graphics cards, some Bluetooth adapters, etc. So it's never going to be perfect, but again, like I've said, it's going to be just another little tool that we can potentially use in our arsenal. Don't stick it in your arsenal if we ever need to use it. I think that's about it. Hopefully that explains it. If it didn't, Mark, let me know, and I will go over anything which you don't fully understand. I guess as well, also, the thing that would be potentially a problem is in order for the Windows the online rebuild to happen, at the very minimum, you're going to need to have working Wi-Fi or Ethernet drivers. And again, if you've got a pretty modern motherboard with a modern Wi-Fi 6E or Wi-Fi 7 device on it, those drivers probably don't exist at Windows Update. So you're going to need a USB disk with the Windows drivers for your networking anyway, in which case, if you've had to download those, you might as well just download the media creation tool. I don't know. Domain 2000 says it keeps your files and apps. The recovery one doesn't. The rebuild doesn't. There is another one which they released recently, which is part of the Windows Update that ends in 593, which added the new kind of repair tool. That does keep your Windows files. It keeps it all exactly the same. That was called something slightly different. And in fact, let me see if I can see it on here. Where system, and it's in recovery. The point in time restore. So there's point in time restore. So that turns on and restores to the last working good point. You've also got reset this PC, which can reinstall Windows and remove your files if you want to. or you can do system recovery, fix problems without resetting my PC, or you can do fix problems using Windows Update. So fix problems using Windows Update reinstalls your current version of Windows, your apps, files and settings will be preserved. So if anything, they've kind of made it a little bit more complicated because there's multiple options now, and you really are going to have to read the text just to make sure that you are doing the right one. It's very easy to do it wrong. It's something which oh, Demand says in place install repairs I've written above. Sorry, missed that. Arali says nothing goes near my arsenal. It's off limits to anyone but a qualified doctor. I would even tell the doctor to go himself. No worries, Mark. Good stuff. Oh, actually, something else which I was thinking of doing. I don't know if anyone's actually going to be interested in this, so I think I'll, being as the you lot that are here with us now, are probably part of the core audience, the people that we try to please. That we don't always do, but we might do. Our favourites, yeah. Sod the Everlot. You're the favourites. I'm joking, of course. Would you like me to do a Steam Machine based video on the channel? I am very much against Linux or Steam machines in general because, like, I like Windows. Windows is my thing. It always has been. But I understand there's some of you that do appreciate that sort of stuff. Now, the reason I say it is because I do have a slightly older AMD-based mini PC, which, if I use one of the Steam installation discs, I'm sure it should work, but it's only got integrated crap graphics. So it's not going to be like a proper Steam box, but it might be a kind of a nice introduction to how the Steam box works. But I don't think it's got powerful enough graphics to do anything other than sort of indie games or really old stuff. So I don't know. So a bit of yes and a bit of no. It's what, Steam Machine style PC. I do quite fancy doing that in terms of what can I build with modern parts for the same money as a Steam Machine, and why is it better? But the thing is, the Steam Machine is always going to be those things that, like, obviously for £1,100 or whatever it is, you can build a pretty nice PC, even in this climate. But the whole thing about the Steam Machine is the fact that it is very, very small, compact. You cannot emulate that or do the same, even in a small form factor PC. You'll never get it that small. So it's always going to be hard to compete with the Steam Machine based on its functionality in a kind of living room environment. If you've got the space for it, a desktop PC, either Micro ATX or ITX or even ATX, I suppose, would be a far superior thing to use, even if you ended up just installing Steam Machine OS on it. So yeah, I don't know. Dax says Steam OS is great, running it now. Ray says might try React OS. David, no Steam Machine, overpriced crap. Dackle says it will work. David Under says, I have purchased 6 MSI motherboards in the recent years, never got any USB drives. I've had 2 or 3 boards from MSI which have come with USB drives. In fact, the Z890 that I've got down here did come with a 64 gig drive, I think, or 128 gig drive with the drivers on and stuff. And I think this is X870 Tomahawk Wi-Fi did. Okay, right. I think that's pretty much it. I can't think there's anything else to discuss on this stream. It's getting a little bit cooler now, which is quite nice. Looking forward to sleeping tonight. But maybe I will look at some Linux installations. I'm a little bit on the fence with Linux because there are certain tools or things that I use myself personally, which for me, I feel that a computer should be able to do all the things that a computer can do, if that makes any sense at all. And obviously Windows computer is the kind of, like it or hate it, is the kind of the standard or the benchmark for desktop computing. Love it or hate it, Windows is the benchmark. There's a lot of things that Mac can do better or differently, and there's a lot of things that Linux can do better or differently, but not one of them does everything that Windows does as well as Windows does. For me, maybe for you, forget if you're purely a gamer or maybe a little bit of browsing, Linux might be for you.
My PC now, I need to use my Apple product to get the codes to go into the PC to be able to use these things anymore.
What's that for?
I don't know. Anything I do on my PC, I've always got to pick my phone up and find bloody two-factor authentication codes.
Yeah.
So it's not a one-man machine anymore, is it? Just saying.
That is more, yeah, but you can turn off all that security if you wanted to. No, you're not doing it because it's just, that's a silly thing to do. Anyway, Kath was saying there that we need to use two-factor authentication on our phones generally to log into a lot of apps. Now, that is going to be the same across all things. So if you put Steam on a Mac or you use Steam on a Steam machine even, if you've already got a Steam account, then there's a strong chance that you're going to have to scan it with the QR code reader in the Steam app. So, yeah, I think that's a little bit of an unfair thing to say. Even if you use a Mac, if you're using things like Adobe Premiere or, I don't know, OneDrive, whatever it is, there's going to be programs where you still need to use your 2FA to log in. So that's going to be the same across the board. So I don't think you can really necessarily call that having to use a different operating system, because you could use Android phone, which is effectively, Android is part owned by Microsoft anyway. So
all of that is putting people off using things now, isn't it? Just saying.
Well, there's an argument that people like using 2FA because it gives them a sense of security. Whether it is or not, that's a different story. Alexa says, I don't know what a Steam machine is. Steam machine is basically a very cut down console which runs Linux, which is effectively the same as the Steam Deck, the handheld version that Steam do. It's basically the desktop version of that. Ordinary Dude says, Linux is fun just to tinker with, even if you still rely on Windows for the most part. Use what works for you. Yeah, that is it. I may have a look. We'll see. Anyway, I think that is about all for tonight's stream. I'm sorry that we took a little bit longer to get it set up, but I did want to get here and give you a stream rather than, I was going to chicken out and just say, sod it, I'm just going to have a night off. But I know that there are some of you out there which really do love watching these streams and like the sense of our community and like watching the videos and like being part of this thing. So yeah, make some effort and hopefully it is appreciated. And obviously the appreciation that you lot give us is amazing. Liking the videos, sharing the videos, leaving comments is brilliant. For those of you who want to go the extra mile and leave some sort of financial donation, even better, that is awesome. And again, I suppose I should shield the YouTube membership. If you want to increase your financial liability, feel free to do so. And of course, likewise, for those of you that are in a tighter financial position, if you want to cancel your memberships, fine. If you want to reduce them down to a more manageable level, just £1, literally £1 a month. That is all it will cost you, £1 a month to support the channel. £2 a month if you want to get early access to the videos. £3 if you want to have a VIP role on Discord and the other perks as well. Entirely up to you. If you just want early access to the videos, £2 a month. We drop the price from £3 a month, a third off effectively. It's not a lot of money. It's a cup of coffee. And if you like the videos, then it's probably worth that. Anyway. Oh yeah, we got some gift memberships to give away, and I'm interested to see what level it gives away. If it just gives away the supporter one, that's going to suck. But we'll see. Kath's going to press the button. Oh, why is my... Oh, it is updating. So, 5 Microsoft Boxing reviews. It doesn't say which ones they are. What are the gift memberships? Anyway, so Ordinary Dude has received one. Fear Murder, Coco, Macamads, GMAC. There you go. Have some gift memberships, which I don't know what level the gift memberships are. That is something which they've never asked or mentioned. And if I had a mouse here, I would use it. Membership. Does it say which level it is? There's 3 dots I can click on there. It does nothing. David Under says £1 can buy you your own trolley in Audi. Yeah. No worries. Anyway, I've waffled on for way too long. Hopefully you've enjoyed the stream. If you have, smash the like button. If you want to see more content like this on a daily basis, maybe consider hitting subscribe. And if you do, don't forget to the all notifications button. That way you've been notified of future video releases. But for now, I'm Mike. This is Mike's Unboxing Reviews now too. And hopefully we'll catch you in the very next video. Thanks for watching. That's better. Have a great weekend. And hopefully England will win tonight. I've jinxed it now. Good night, everyone. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you in the next video on Monday morning. Thanks for watching. Bye. Say bye, Calf. Don't know if they can hear her. Oh dear. Bye.